Hey everyone, it's Sonya here with Fresh Approach Fitness, a wellness company. I hope you are doing well. So, this is episode 136, and today's was meant to be a heart to heart. So, I have Tina Hall with me today, but because of video problems, we're going to just upload the audio only. Um, if by miracle this all goes through, then we'll let you know if it goes up on YouTube or you can just pay attention. But we are hoping that it just works completely for the audio component. So welcome, welcome. Episode 136. And you know, these heart to hearts are amazing because what we do is we learn a lot more about our guest speaker. So I have an idea of the theme of today's episode for those that like to know a little bit more before you jump in. Um, unless it's perfect. Tina and I met last week, and my bar was set pretty darn high about everything. And for the rest of the week since our conversation, I kept on thinking about unless it's perfect. It's like, is it this or that? But why can't it be both?
Mm.
Um, you're thinking about things again. So with no further ado, Tina, let's introduce you.
Hi, Sonia. How are you?
I'm good, you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Glad you're here. I'm seeing I got you chuckling right from the get-go.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that. It's a conversation, part of our conversation that we had last week. We often do the either or, so we can have health or money. We can have money or a relationship, or we can have a relationship and or health. But it seems like we don't, it's not an inclusive thing, but we can have health and money and wealth and relationships and love and all of it. That's the gift.
It is the gift. And there's a little bit more I want to add on to that. And then we're going to tell everybody who you are and what you do, and we'll get started because I know we couldn't help but to go there. I opened the door for you to jump right in, and I'm so glad that you did because I want everybody to be aware of the mindset shifts and how subtle they can be.
Mhm.
And as much as you think you might have a growth mindset, there's so much more to it than that. And we're going to tap into that today. So I've taken what we talked about and I converted it into an affirmation. And I
Nice.
write it down every day. And I'm going to share this with you. It is safe having it all.
Mm.
And I am brave enough to desire more.
Love that. Love
Love
that.
that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, tell us, who are you? Where are you from? What do you do? Go ahead.
Okay. So I am from Toronto originally, and I now live in the Caribbean island of St. Kitts and Nevis. And the sister island, which is a smaller island, is Nevis that I live on. Been here for 18 years with my family and loving every moment of it. I am a massage therapist originally and transitioned into energy healing work online and mindset work. I combined that with the Akashic records in my own signature method called the Infinitely You method. And I help heal women who are in critical pain from their childhood trauma or wounds. And so they don't have to live it, relive it. It's so many. When you go to therapists and you go to counselors, you're going over and over and over and over again, and it's not necessary. It's amazing that there has to be some understanding, and there has to be obviously some insights, and I have to be aware of some of the things that are going on, but I don't need to know the depths so that you're being called back into the emotional trauma again of the experience, which is really important to me, because I've seen how recalling it actually re-traumatizes the person, and it doesn't help. So I help remove it also from your physical and energetic body, because a lot of times, if we have an understanding of emotions, when they're heightened, it gets locked in at the cellular level. And when it gets locked into the cellular level, that's where it starts to keep us stuck and holds us back and doesn't allow us to step into our full greatness and be who we're meant to be. So this is where I step in.
And that sounds so amazing. Now, where do you find people benefit the most when they work with you?
So it's been interesting, and it's going to sound like nothing because it's we throw the words around, but we really don't understand them because we haven't felt them in a very long time. So a lot of people feel calm, they feel relaxed, they feel like they're in their bodies, they feel more empowered, they feel less pain, and they feel clarity. So those things are sound so simple, and we have a basic understanding of them, but we have gone so far away from them, we don't realize that we actually don't know how they feel anymore.
That's huge. So the people that come to you then, they're experiencing this so much by second nature.
Yes.
Like they don't even realize.
Don't even realize. One client after 2 sessions said to me, Tina, I thought I was a kind of a relaxed person because she lives in my sister island, St. Kitts, and she lives by the beach, and she, enjoys her life, and things were going relatively well, that she was having neck and shoulder and tension. And she said, I did not know how unrelaxed I was. And that's not even a word, I don't think, but
And what shifted for her?
the energy work, because it helps center you, it helps calm you, it helps realign you. There's the balance between, I work with the mind as well as the physical and the energetic body. So it's the whole. We often are treated by body parts. So some people are working with the mind, but they're not working with the emotion, or they're, again, it's that or, right? So it's a holistic
Yeah.
approach, mind, body, heart, and soul. It's all of it. It's never one piece of it. And I learned that a long time ago with massage. And I also didn't realize that I was putting the emotion into it, but I hadn't really been tapping into it at a great level because I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a counselor. But I realized that I was putting the mindset work into it, even though it wasn't a piece of it.
Yeah.
So I had this notion that I needed to work with a psychologist or a psychotherapist or whatever, plus the body work, the energy healing work, to actually help people on a deeper level. And I couldn't find anybody who bought into what I was offering so that we could do it together. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to just do it on my own. So I did.
So you found an opportunity and you ran with it.
Yes. Yes.
And let's talk about the law of attraction for a minute on that vibrational scale. Where does doing what you do land you?
Oh, high up.
High up.
I Yeah, I I mean, I've done some moderate testing. I'm around 600, 700 on the scale. So it's pretty high up. I've done a lot of healing and work on myself. So I've actually put this work to practice on myself first. Then I did a test group because I wasn't sure if it would translate online. And the test group was getting great results. So I figured, okay, well, if they're getting the results, it's got to work. So I just trusted the universe that if I had good intentions and my desire was strong enough to help other people online to heal, then it would come through, and it has in a big way.
That's just so amazing that you're helping and healing online through technology,
Mhm.
right? You can touch people all across the world. So if you were to have a magic wand and talk about your ideal client, why would they come to you? because they're in a space right now with what they're feeling is normal to them.
Right. Yeah. So we've also come to accept pain,
Mm.
whether it's mental, emotional, and or physical, and often all three. And we feel there's some kind of a badge of honor to live with it. And my motto has always been, why live with pain if you do not have to?
Mm.
And we don't have to. That's the God's honest truth. We're not meant to live with pain. God did not put us on this earth to live with pain. He put it, it's a signal. It's an indication that something's wrong. It's an indication that we need to heal. We need to do better, be better, act better, take care of ourselves, take care of our bodies, take care of whatever the issue, the trigger is for the pain. So it is like a breadcrumb. So for me, money was my pain. And so it put me on the path of healing on such a big scale because that was the pain that I needed to be triggered in order for me to get to that point where I could heal and wanted to heal. So it comes in different forms. And
But
that's the,
everybody has a trigger.
yeah, there's something somewhere along the road that's got a trigger that has pain points. It could be from childhood. It could be from a car accident. It could be from having a life change. COVID, I'm sure, opened up a lot of wounds for a lot of people because all of a sudden they're transitioning from making money, creating their life, they're in their routine, everything going along, and all of a sudden, bam, we're no longer who we thought we were, and what the heck are we going to do now?
Right? For those that can't see, because we have the video on a little bit, but I'm like nodding my head and I'm like,
Yeah.
that was a huge turning of events for a lot of people. People either didn't see that the other shoe was going to drop because they didn't want to,
Right.
or they felt like they were protected. But too many people are living in that state all the time without
Yes.
realizing it. Because, and you talked about this pain, we didn't get into this depth yet, but there's different modalities of what fear looks like and of what pain is.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, it's meant to keep you safe if we slow down enough and
Mhm.
listen to the messages.
Right.
So that's the point I wanted to circle back here is everything that Tina shared isn't doing more. Just because
Yeah.
it's doing things better, it doesn't mean you do more of the same to get
Mhm.
the changes that you're looking for. Do you want to talk about the benefits of doing less?
Yeah, and change. If you, it's what's that quote? If you do keep doing the same thing over and over again, that's the definition of insanity.
It's
So
true.
yeah, and if you're seeing patterns in your life and you're seeing things come full circle again, it's like something's wrong, something's out of alignment, something's not working. So it's time for you to change when that starts to be seen, because otherwise you're missing out and it'll just repeat itself again. So if you don't want it, then you got to make the change. Flow is when we're in full alignment with our mind,
Mhm.
body, heart, and soul, and that is ease and flow. And it's an amazing space to be. And it is where there's happiness and joy, and you have fun, and you love what you do, and your relationships are good, and things feel just yummy. Really, seriously, it's just yummy. You look forward to the day, you're excited about what's to come, and you're just, it doesn't have to be hard. And I've really tried to think about why we've gotten into this phase, and I think it comes from the era of the machines and the industrial revolution, and we're just have to work hard, work hard, work hard in order to pay our bills, in order to have success, in order to get where we want to go. And the truth is, the more you work hard, the less likely it's going to come to you. We have a saying in the Caribbean:
Okay.
slow down to speed up.
It's fitting. And it is one of the hardest things that we have to do, that we have to embrace. Because, for instance, I didn't spend the last 25 years of my life doing anything remotely called slowing down. Like anything that would fall into that category, really. And when I do, and I do for a couple of days, my vibration changes on the law of attraction. And then I start to get into my own head because
Yeah.
it's so unnatural.
Yeah.
But you see, when we don't do that, we get exhausted.
Yes.
We hit a wall, we lose our bearings, we overindulge, we do these things that don't make us feel well because we're not in flow.
Right. And we're not in trust. So we're not trusting the universe is going to take care of us. If we really want ease and flow in our lives, that is one of the biggest factors that I've come to realize. And we cannot look at our now realities. If we keep focused on our now realities, we're going to get more of our now realities. So it's shifting our focus and our intention to be better, to feel better, to dream bigger, to use our imaginations for possibilities and magic and miracles, and be able to be inspired and uplifted and do it for other people and just feel good. That's when all of a sudden things start to shift for us, because we're not looking at that bill that has just come in and we're like, oh crap, how are we going to pay that bill? Well, feel that energy of that comment and statement alone versus what I just said before, the ease and the flow and the fun and the, is totally different. And the more we stay into that low vibration, low energy emotions, then it just tracks more of that low vibration and energy and emotions. So if we want to be better, do better, heal, get healthy, have success, have more money, gotta raise the vibrations. And then that's attractive.
And that's the thing, raising the vibrations is key, and it can be done in so many different formats. Because one of the takeaways that I've taken from our conversation so far is flow is not a place. Guys, you don't have to wait to retirement or until you're a certain shape or a certain size or on the weekends. Flow can happen now.
Yes.
And when we step into that, we can hold on to that a lot longer.
Yeah. Yeah. And also it's so other people might call it Zen space, or you're in the zone and you're just feeling like you're on fire and things are coming and you're getting the downloads and the inspiration, and you're productive as all you can be for that day, and you're feeling like everything's going well. That is flow. And it's because we are actually working with our inner selves at that state, and we're in that alignment with our inner selves and who we're meant to be, and we're not having that push pull and that resistance and the argument in our heads where we're the mind chatter is taking over and is telling us that we shouldn't do that, and putting the doubt and the worry and the fear, and then all of a sudden we're overeating to compensate for the fact that we're not in flow. And when that happens, then magic
Happens when we're in flow. So how do we get in flow? How would we tell the listeners to this podcast how to start to get into flow?
So it's different for everybody, and it can be easy and it can happen overnight. It's really about doing what you desire, loving yourself, coming from a full cup, self-care, making sure that you are putting yourself as a priority. Many of the women that I work with always say, oh, but isn't that being selfish? And one of my coaches said, no, it's self-honoring.
Mm.
Honor yourself.
Yeah,
You matter, and you cannot take care of other people from an empty cup, period. And this is why we overeat and overindulge and get into drinking or drugs or being with people that aren't healthy and don't deserve our time and attention and stuff. So we really want to give back to ourselves first. We're our first priority, and then we can overflow onto everybody else. And when we align to that, that is when our higher selves, our inner being is just ecstatic because they want us to have everything that we desire. So go after that. Feel in that space of desire. What do I want? Not do what do I need?
exactly. So the best way I find to tap into that is think about your future self. Think about that person on your vision board. Think about that person that is the perfect shape in her eyes, has the perfect bank account. So there's no money issues, there's no health issues, there's no money issues. So whatever that looks like to you,
Mhm.
and there's no time issues. Your time
Yeah.
is your time, right?
Mhm.
So think of that ideal scenario in the future for you. And what does that person want to fill her time with?
Yeah. And
You're laughing, Tina.
feel it as it's already yours.
Yes, you start living it
Bring
now.
it to the now, right?
So if your future self, for instance, if your future self has journaling and doing her daily reflections as a non-negotiable, because there's no better feeling than writing out your thoughts with a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, and you give yourself a couple of hours, start doing that now,
Mhm. Yeah,
right? Whatever it looks like, once a week, twice a week. Does she listen to music and go play in the garden for 5 minutes? Do it now.
right.
How does she dress? Because the more you can step into that feeling of what you're chasing,
Yeah.
the more you're going to realize perfection isn't what you're looking for. It's not a matter like unless things are perfect. It's completely different than that. It's learning what that flow is.
Yeah, and there's no such thing as perfection. Even a
No.
rose that is the most incredible, beautiful, perfect bloom that comes out and eventually it dies and the leaves fall and it turns brown and it misshapens and it just is. So there's perfect moments, but there's no perfection. And where it's unattainable, and I don't, again, I don't know where that comes from, the need for it. It's really a form of procrastination
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because it stops us from getting where we want to be and what we want to do and where we want to go.
And I was going
Because
to say, and a lot of it started, and this is why it's so ingrained and stuck in us, because a lot of it started while we were in school
yes.
for those grades, right? And when we think of the chakras that are now being impacted by it, those are our lower two chakras,
Yes.
and they're going to have the most influence as to things that are harder to escape from, such as the need to chase perfection.
Mm-hmm. Well, and also as children, we're taught to work towards external reward. So it's the grade, or it's the parents' approval, or it's the friends' love, or your parents' love. And the truth is that that will always fall short. Always. We will never feel good enough if we look to the external environment. We have to do it from within.
And that is an amazing point because so many people will reach to a coach and have a conversation with them with the intention of that person leaving their job, leaving their husband, leaving their town, their city, their province, their state, whatever it looks like, because it's everybody else's problem but
Yes.
theirs.
Well,
And they're
and
not
you
going to tell you that.
with you.
You bring yourself with you. So if you're not aware that
Yes.
you are this scenario, if you're not aware that it's your way of thinking, or maybe just your stage where you're at, it's
Mhm.
kind of like the same thing when it comes to affirmations and gratitudes. If we come from a place of scarcity, if we
Yes,
come from a place of victimhood, we're never going to get what it is that we desire,
fully.
right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's the same mindset of, as a victim without knowing that you're a victim. Just everything happens to you wherever you go. You can't
right,
escape it. And you also can't go to those places for happiness,
right. Yeah.
right?
So the
And
difference,
we still do that as a society, Tina. And I'm sure this is what you were going to just pick up with. Like, we see this
yeah,
all the time as a society.
yes. So living the life of everything is happening to me means you're living a passive life and that you're just reacting and responding to everything that's coming at you. If you're living a life of everything's happening for me, which is when you're in your power, you're in control, you are stepping into the truth of who you are, then things are in your control, you're in your power, and things around you do not affect you as much, which is so freeing. I can't even begin to tell you how freeing that is, because my ex-husband was a bit of a narcissist towards the end, and I don't know if he's fully a narcissist or he just gained some narcissistic personality traits at the end. I don't know, something went wrong. And I remember him standing at the doorway of my office, and I'm on the computer, and he is yelling at me and he's cussing me and he's saying all these nasty things to me. And I just looked at him. I turned back to the computer. I probably even had a smile on my face. And then I kept going on because I've decided that I'm not going to change who I am because of the way he is. We do not have to be someone else we don't want to be.
No. And that comes with experience, doesn't it?
Mhm. And a lot
That,
of learning and growth and emotional intelligence and stepping into our power. I had to regain my power because I didn't even know what it was. I had to raise my standards and have boundaries that I didn't know I didn't have anymore, and really redefine who I am on all
yeah.
levels, because it eats you, it beats you down.
Yeah. And then your identity shot altogether
Oh,
after that. And you're rebuilding, and it doesn't matter if it's a divorce or any significant change will have the same impact.
mhm.
And we work with women that go through those changes all the time.
Yeah.
We see it every day. And it's not, I guess this is the another takeaway here is, don't be so surprised when you realize you're sitting there holding your breath, waiting for that other shoe to drop.
Mhm.
You've gone through a lot, and it's okay to learn that. It's okay to identify
Mhm.
that, but don't sit in that space of victimhood.
Right.
Now that you know, you can do something about it, but don't beat yourself up for not knowing.
Yes. Yeah, we have to have compassion with ourselves, and anything Sonya and I are saying today, it's not because we're trying to judge you or criticize you or make you feel bad. It's because awareness is so key if we want to make changes in our lives, and we don't even know sometimes that we're being that way until someone brings it to our attention, and then all of a sudden it's like, ooh, damn.
But it's not a bad thing, right? Like,
Oh,
it's the
yeah.
initial shock of it seems that way. It doesn't matter who you are. People are looking up to you.
Yes.
Your friends are looking up to me, to your children, your cousins. People are looking up to you whether you realize it or not. They're
Yes.
watching your moves, they're watching your energy, they're feeding off you. There's
Mhm.
givers and takers in this world. And it doesn't matter where you are, what you're doing, where things fall. It's how you handle the cards in your hand.
Yes.
And you can have a shitty deck that was dealt to you, and be like, huh, okay, well, maybe I'm not winning this one, but I can
Right.
still have fun and enjoy the ride. So,
And it can
and,
change.
and it
We're
can
not
change
stuck.
because we're not, yes. And that's the thing. We can sit in a space for a long period of time trying to find the answers, but the answers will always show up at the right time.
If we're open to it. Yes. We
Exactly.
have to
Yeah.
allow it to come to us. And sometimes, and I had a client tell me this, that it's easier to live with the pain instead of coming back up out of it and then going back into it. And I was
Isn't
like,
that truth?
wow. And yeah, like I felt it on such a visceral level. It was just shocking, but it's so true. So, I get that everybody's at a different phase and maybe you're not ready yet. And maybe it's not your time, and that's okay. You will eventually get to that point, and when you're ready, it will change. But know that it can, and it
And
can.
that's the thing. Tina, you're 100% like bullseye. You might be listening to this for the first time and hearing some great information and then do nothing with this information. But then subconsciously, you might realize throughout the next couple of weeks, you're hearing more and more of the same. That's meant for you. If it's meant for you, this isn't going to go past you.
Right.
And it's not too late. It's not something that you should have, would have, could have taken action on sooner because it wasn't your time. And
Yes.
that's another variable I want to make sure that we talk about today is the perfect time is now. It wasn't yesterday, or it would have been presented yesterday,
Right.
right? It's not tomorrow. You're ready to learn these things when you're ready.
Yeah. And we can hear things, I think it's 13 times before we actually get it. And I've been there. Like there's been many things my coaches have said over the years. And I'm like, I don't even understand what that means. My biggest thing right now is I have a master class coming up, and it's healing from the inside out. And there was my coach had said your inside world represents what your outside world is. So I can tell you in a minute what your inside world is telling you. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? How can you see inside me? And it took me a while to get the concept, because these are big concepts. Like they're thrown out there, and people don't understand and don't get them. And again, it's when you're ready, you'll understand. It's just like when you're ready, the coach will come along, or the
Or the
opportunity
teacher.
will come
Yes.
along, and the possibility will come along. So it's all about the journey, and it's about allowing yourself to process and grow and expand and evolve through the journey. But that concept was forever. Even the boundaries, I'm like, what the heck are boundaries? What does being in my power even mean? Because for me, being in your power means overlording and being dominant and dominating. So I had to really unravel those beliefs and those concepts, because it doesn't mean a bad thing when you're in a healthy power position.
Right.
But it came with a lot of baggage for me. So I had to unravel that before I could step into it.
And you probably had no idea you had that baggage until you started your journey.
Yeah, not
Why
a
would
clue.
you? Yeah.
Right.
Right. Honestly, and that's the thing. You
Yeah.
can't beat yourself up for what you don't know, or for timing, or for this or for that.
Mhm.
Um, because
And it
like
and
Tina
it
said,
is
it's not.
about timing. So we have a tendency to want things done like this, and we want change now. We don't want to have to go through the hard part of healing and getting healthy and clean living and all that kind of stuff. And the reality is it's got to become a lifestyle change. It is not an overnight fix. It's not like medicine that you can take a week worth of medicine, and then you're feeling better because of you've got a sickness. It's not like that. It is really truly about a growth experience, and it's layers and layers and layers. And with each up level and life experience you have, there's going to be another layer that's going to come about, and you just have to be prepared for it. It's not going to be as harsh, it's not going to be as hard, it's not going to last as long, which is the beautiful thing, but it's still going to come up.
It is, and those transformations are not easy.
they
They're
they
not.
but they're not usually, no.
They're not normally. I mean, if you think of the idea of a butterfly turning into a caterpillar, that sounds easy.
Yeah.
Um, but you completely lose your footing. You completely forget the
Well,
most
they
basic
become
things.
goo.
Like you are completely, I am not the person I was a year ago today,
Oh, 100%.
right? But we don't notice those small little changes at
Yeah,
all. I
no,
mean, we can even put things into perspective. I've read 31 books last year. Of course, after reading one book, I wouldn't be the same person,
right. Yeah.
right? So I completely loved the way you put it all together and how you said it's a lifestyle change. You see, and this is probably what your coach was saying to you before, but in different words. What we do in one part of our life, we do in all parts of our life.
Mhm.
So if we feed our mind crap, we are likely doing a crappy job with our finances, and we are probably eating takeout more often than not.
Yes.
Okay, because we don't believe that we deserve more, and we
Mhm.
don't even know where to start, and then we don't realize that just by switching from make crap to homemade stuff is enough of a difference to start, but that can't be the only difference,
Right. And it
right?
might have to be one of those things where we take steps. So if we're eating
Yes.
out all the time and we're eating crappier takeout foods, then maybe it's going to a healthier takeout food.
And that's it. And that's it, right? And then, but now you're looking at all four pillars: meals, movement, mindset, and your relationship with money. So taking that experience from crappy takeout to healthier takeout,
Mhm.
okay, is going to have an impact on your desire to move your body, is
Right,
going to have a positive impact on your mindset because you did something powerful, which
right.
is then going to help you eliminate your stress of what is shoulda coulda's, aka your relationship with money,
Yes,
and that's going to have a positive impact.
right. Yeah, and then all of a sudden, maybe you don't do takeout 5 days a week, maybe you only do it 3 times a week. And then you start to feel healthier. I was when I was my family was here, honestly, I would have chocolate, and I don't eat a lot of chocolate, like two little pieces of chocolate a day. And I have not had a piece of chocolate in probably a month because there's no desire. And I am right now, I'm a single woman and I cook for myself. I realized that so at Christmas time, there's a group of us that get together and we do a potluck, and my lasagna is my go-to dish. And so I had said to somebody, I haven't had this in a year. And they said, well, that's really sad. What do you mean you haven't had it in a year? And I don't make it for myself because my family's not here. So I bought myself a little container and I made myself a little lasagna. I portioned it out in 3 different containers. I had it a couple of weeks in a row, and then the other ones in the fridge waiting for me to have when I have a busy
Mm.
day and night. And so we can take care of ourselves and start to set ourselves up and portion our foods and stuff like that. We have to cook as a single person just as much takeout.
Because it's the same paradigm, right? And that's the thing. We're kind of if we go with the mindset that we're looking at something else to enhance our life and then we'll start to cook. No,
No.
you got to have that will and desire within you no matter what it is.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and you're good
Okay.
enough. You're worthy enough of cooking for
And
yourself.
you
That's a
deserve it.
lot
Like
of yeah, a
that's a
lot of
lot of self-love.
yeah, a lot of women struggle with that because they go from cooking for family to just cooking for themselves. And it's like, well, why? Why waste my time? Why waste my energy? You matter. That's what it comes down to.
And I love how we're exploring more on the food piece because, at the end of the day, it's still more economical than eating out, right?
100.
At the plus you're more in control of the choices that you make, which means the food you put in your body to make you feel good. And there's a major correlation to eating a ton of sugar and feeling awful.
Mhm. Yeah, because it spikes your metabolism. So your metabolism is going up, and but it's temporary, and then it then spikes downward, and then you're on a low. That's why we have those foggy moments around 3 o'clock in the afternoon when we're not eating well, because all of a sudden, we've got the brain fog, and it's we have to have a pickup. So then it's chips or chocolate or some kind of crappy food again to get us to dinner. And then dinner is there, and a lot of us probably aren't sleeping properly because we're either eating too late or we're not eating well. So then our stomachs are grumbling, and that's not allowing us to sleep. So it's all about balance. And this is really important for everybody. What I realized looking back now is when we were in Canada and we were going through the process of moving here, it was a lot because I had my own clinic, Elton was working, we had the two little girls, we were trying to pack everything so we could ship it all, and we had timing that we had to have in order for it to be here when we moved and all this kind of stuff. We were eating a lot of takeout, and we come here and there's no takeout. And
Oh,
there's no fast food. Chinese food
oh,
is the only fast food on the island, and it's not even fast food, it's cooked. It takes a good 40 minutes for you to get your meal. So it was a shocker because we were not in, we had really, it had taken over our lives. And it's because you're so much on the go. We're not paying attention. We're not focused on what we're doing. And when we're not focused on what we're doing, then we overeat. I could have a bag of chips, and I remember eating the whole bag, but not really consciously on that level, eating the whole bag. And I'm like, the whole bag's gone. Oops.
oops. I mean, it happens. We have those moments, but we have them less and less when we slow down more and more.
Yeah, 100%, because we're conscious, we're thinking, we're paying attention, and we're aware. And we probably are now asking ourselves, is that chip worth, is it worth it?
Is it worth it? Is it worth, I mean, I love it when I'm in that mindset where I would know exactly how many chips I could eat if it was a 5K run or a 10K run and what the difference is. And I really wish I didn't lose that piece of paper, but it literally said you need to do X amount of jumping jacks to eat this, and a bike ride X long to burn off this many calories, which is in this, this, and this. I loved the reference because you're right. It's not a matter of burning off the calories. It's about making up for the energy that you've lost by eating that sugar or that sweetness. So it's not, and this is where most people think of, they make a mistake of working out as much as they want so they can eat whatever they want. But that doesn't eliminate the stress. That's not where the problem really is. That's a basic calorie in, calorie out solution, and that does work. But there's so much more work that needs to be tapped into that, which is the mindset work, which is why people who do yoga,
Yes, I was.
people who, yeah, people even who walk regularly, but with mindfulness and intention, are still going to lose the weight. Probably
Yes,
even more so.
yes, and with happiness and joy, and feeling
Yeah,
calmer and more at peace and more
right.
free. Yeah.
So, and that's because you are eliminating the stress factor 100% in your life. So there's a couple of things that we have circled back to, and one of them is the feeling of flow.
Yeah.
One of them was, what does your future self want? And step into that. Like if time wasn't an issue, if money wasn't an issue, if your health wasn't an issue, how would you feel your day? And, is it a walk every day? And if it is, why can't you do that now?
Right. And
Right?
there's a great book called The One Thing, and I have no idea who the author is. I can't
I can tell
remember.
you because I just read it. Let me just pull it up.
Okay.
Where? Yeah.
And he talks about the one thing,
I
and
think
he's
it's Benjamin Hardy.
okay. And he was saying that it could be 1 minute of
Sorry, it's Gary Keller. My
okay,
mistake. The
no
one
problem.
thing, Gary
Right.
Keller.
So you can do one push-up, one sit-up, one anything, any kind of movement. But what we're doing is trying to trick our brain a little bit, because what happens is we do the one and then ego will kick in and it's like, well, we're not just going to do one, then we do 10. And then, or we do a minute, or we do 10 minutes, or we do something else. But it's the start. And it's the start that's the hardest part, and to overcome that hardest part. So trick your mind. I'm just going to do one push up, go for it. Now I'm just going to do one sit up, go for it. I'm going to do 1 minute of walking, even if it's up and down your patio because it's snowing outside. It doesn't have to look like anything that is, strenuous and or any of that. I pay attention. I've never done calories. I've never done the scale ever. I judge everything by my clothes. And if my clothes feel too tight, I know I've put on a few pounds, and then I work harder, become more conscious, because something obviously is triggered it, either stress or I've not exercising as much, or I'm not eating as well as I should, or something's going on. Not drinking enough water is a big factor as well. So I will look at that, and then I'll make some shifts and changes. And stress is such a huge factor we underestimate when it comes to weight. And I noticed that since my family is gone and the stress of that and that experience is gone, I'm losing inches. I'm exercising, but I was exercising before they left and I didn't lose inches. But they've left and I'm losing inches. So it makes a huge difference.
Yeah. And that stress piece is that subconscious piece that we don't even realize how stressed we are. It goes
Mhm.
back to having that work done because it impacts all of the different areas of your life,
Yes.
right? Tina's
Yeah.
going to share with us how you can reach her. It's going to be included in the bio here in the show notes. And anybody can reach out to you, Tina.
Oh, yeah. I was mostly working with women, and there's been a bit of a call and demand on working with men. So I'm open to both men and women. And honestly, if you're ready, I'm here for you to work with you. I'm I'm excited for you because you can heal, and that's the beauty of this body, is it has healing practices. And so we just got to tap into it. And sometimes we don't always know the steps that we need to do, but that's what you and I are here for, right, Sonya? So, yeah.
And it's true, like we don't really realize it until we do the work and learn the details, but everything in our body right now is working in its own job, doing its own thing, keeping everything functional. If we were to
Yes.
have a little cut somewhere, all of the little dudes come and fix it. I mean, everything is already working. So you can heal yourself. And there's so many books, Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. There's so much to support that. And there's so many resources out here for you. So
Mhm.
I want to thank you, Tina, for being a guest on the show today. Guys, if you are listening to this or when you do catch this, don't forget we are doing weekly giveaways. So to participate, you need to do hashtag episode 136. That'll be this episode. And hashtag Ask Sonya, Sonya, on the same piece, and let us know what you like best about this particular episode, what your biggest takeaway was, and how we can support you with your next set of questions and answers. Perfect. Thank you so much, Tina. Is there anything else you can share with us before we sign off for the day?
Well, I want to thank you, Sonya, and your audience for listening and for being here, because this is the first step. This is the step of listening and becoming more aware and really wanting more and better and greater things for yourself. So I really honor you for that. And I hope that you honor yourself, love yourself enough, and really take care of yourself so that you're stepping into the greatness that you truly are meant to be.
Yeah, those are some powerful words, and it is so true because it is safe for you to have everything that you've ever dreamed of,
Yes,
100%. And
yes,
you can let go of the theory of unless it's perfect, because
yes.
everybody's perfect is a different story. But that is the title of today's show, because so many times when we represent ourselves to somebody, we want to step up to the plate as if it's perfect, as if we're going to hit that perfect home run. And that's
Mhm.
nowhere near the case. We're
No.
lucky if we make it to first base.
And I'm
Well,
sure that the baseball players, when I used to play baseball, I used to close my eyes when I hit the ball, and I could have those home run moments. But we're not always perfect in the form, and sometimes we get lucky. And so there's not always, like I said, there's perfect moments, just not
yes,
perfection.
exactly. Again, thank you, and thank you everybody for listening. And we will catch you all next week.